So we started reading yesterday. Okay. Now let's look at different aspects of reading. Yesterday when we read a text, if you remember, we read a text about polar bears. What I did was I read every single word of the text, and at different points I stopped to make us think about the topic. That is called close reading. When you are reading, sometimes you can read for the gist as well. Just quickly read something and find the gist. But that is not what we did yesterday. We closely read the text to see what each word meant, what each punctuation mark, a comma or a full stop does to the text. How do sentences connect to each other? That is what we did yesterday. Now, there is one fundamental theory of reading. Where does meaning lie when we read a text? Where is the meaning in the text? First of all, the basic unit of a text, a letter like A, B, C, D, do these letters have any meaning? Yes, like which letter has a meaning? Okay. Some words like A or I, one letter can have meaning, but others don't. Like the meaning of B or meaning of C, there's no meaning to it. If you combine letters together, when they form a word, then there is a meaning to the word. Like if you combine C, A, and T and becomes cat, now that word has a meaning. And many times in the IELTS test, if you don't know the meaning of the word, you will not know what the answer is. Meaning lies in the word. Sometimes, without even knowing the meaning, the context may help you to understand what the topic is, but most times, meaning is important for words. Now, how to learn the meaning of words? Some people have a very uh, not good strategy, that is just learning words in isolation, like searching online the most important words and learning those words, or buying a dictionary and learning words from a dictionary. That is not a good way of learning words. The best way of learning words would be when you read anything new, like when you read texts in this IELTS book that you have. If you find a new word that you did not know about, then learn that word in that context, because just knowing the meaning of a word is not enough. You have to know how to use it and how it is used by other people as well. So that is the first thing. Second thing is, the meaning of words might change when we use the words in a sentence. For an example, if I say go, it has one meaning of going. But in a sentence, if I say don't go, it has the opposite meaning of what the word go means. So sometimes, even though we may know the meaning of a word, if we don't understand the complete sentence, we might not understand the meaning of what it is being said. And most people, when they get the wrong answer in the IELTS reading test, it is because they only focus on one or two words. The entire sentence could be something else. For an example, go and don't go is a simple example, but go and I feel like you should not leave, a long sentence, has a different meaning. I has a different meaning, feel has a different meaning, but the entire sentence has some other meaning. So most IELTS questions will depend on this as well. The knowledge of understanding the complete sentence. For that, you have to have some basic grammar knowledge as well. And other times, you have to think clearly. Don't just read one part of a sentence and think you understood everything. Read the complete sentence. Now, the third thing is, meaning also lies in paragraphs, not only in word or sentences, but in paragraphs as well. And again, whatever meaning a sentence has can change when we use the sentence in a paragraph. For an example, if I say I was born in China, and after that if I say that sentence is false, that means I was not born in China. But if you only focus on one sentence, you will get the wrong information. You have to read both sentences. So sometimes that also happens in the IELTS test. We read a sentence, we think we know what it means. But since we don't read the sentence that comes above or that comes below it, we might misunderstand what it is trying to say. So many IELTS questions also depend on that, the meaning of a paragraph. So these three things, meaning of words, meaning of sentences, and meaning of paragraphs, is where the IELTS test judges your English level. Now there is further than that. There is meaning of the entire passage as well. But in the IELTS test, questions like those don't come. So again, sometimes there is a one question type called global multiple choice question, where they might ask you the meaning of the entire thing. But that is a very rare kind of question. Most questions only ask up to the level of paragraph. You don't have to solve any question where you have to read two paragraphs to find one answer. one answer at most is in one entire paragraph, many times only in one sentence, and again many times only in one word. Longer than that is not needed. So let's analyze that today. When we read a text today in the class, let's focus on all three things: meaning of words, meaning of sentences, and meaning of paragraphs, and how they change each other. For that, let me see a good text for that. Okay, let's go to this one. IELTS 16, page 21. IELTS 16, page 21. There's a text that says the step pyramid of Djoser. So today when we read this text, we will try to analyze the multiple layers of meanings a text has. And even before that, there are some things which are absolutely essential to be able to fully comprehend what the meaning of this text is and to be able to find the answer as well. Whatever you read in the IELTS test, it may be new for you, but it should not be strange for you. Now, personally, you may not know what the step pyramid of Djoser is, but you should know what a pyramid is. You should know what a step pyramid is. Without thinking of the actual pyramids in Egypt, in geometry you must have learned about pyramids. A square or a rectangle base with triangular sides, that's what a pyramid is. And the famous examples of pyramid buildings are in Egypt, a very giant structure made thousands of years ago. Do you know why they were made, the pyramids? Why were they made? For different rulers, they made pyramids. Like if you have been to any burial site, have you seen where Muslims or Christians or even Mongolian people, when they die, they bury them and they build a small structure on top of the place where they on the grave. So that is called a tomb. They build a tomb on the top. This tomb can be small one, can be slightly bigger. Pyramids are just that. They are a very large tomb and they are very very big. I don't know how closely you have seen it, maybe on videos, but what I realized is the videos don't do any justice. One of our colleagues just went to Egypt and he showed me pictures of it, standing very close to it. It is very big, like the biggest building in Biratnagar, maybe the Bhatpatani building. It is even bigger than that. So one big building on top of a tomb. At the bottom of it is the dead body of the old king. Whoever dies, they are buried inside, and they make a building on top of it. So why did they make the building? Who gave the idea of this? Where did it come from? How did they do it? And what is inside that building? Maybe the text is about. Maybe I don't know what the text is about, but maybe it is about that. Of Djoser must mean the place name or maybe the person's name, like the pyramid of maybe the king whose name is Djoser, or somebody, or maybe some place. Without reading, how do we know? So let's read the text. The pyramids are the most famous monuments of ancient Egypt and still hold enormous interest for people in the present day. Not that difficult, I guess, to understand. These grand, impressive tributes to the memory of the Egyptian kings have become linked with the country, even though other cultures, such as the Chinese and Mayan, also built pyramids. So we only know about Egyptian, like commonly, but there are Chinese pyramids as well. And Mayan. Mayan means a civilization that used to exist in South America, like in countries like Brazil and places like those. There also there are pyramids. The evolution of the pyramid form has been written and argued about for centuries. At this point, so where did this pyramid come from? This shape, this form has been written and argued. Means people, researchers, theorists have written about this, written books about this. and they have argued, means they don't agree. Some people might think, have you also heard that theory? I have watched the program on History Channel that aliens came and built the pyramid. There's a theory like that as well. Because thousands of years ago, how could primitive people make that big a building? There was no technology like it is right now. So some people think aliens built it. Anyway, there are different theories, different uh, suppositions about this. However, there is no question that as far as Egypt is concerned, it began with one monument to one king designed by one brilliant architect, the step pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara. So this point, the last part of that paragraph, is telling us something that pyramids are all over the world, and historians and archaeologists don't agree on where it came from and how it came. Like, if there are pyramids both in China and Egypt, who copied whom? Who made it first? There may be arguments about that. Who taught, like maybe the same architect went to China and the same architect went to Egypt and taught both of them the same design. Maybe we don't know about that. But we know one thing. Other things we don't know, but we know one thing, that in Egypt, at least in Egypt, not in China, not in Central America, but in Egypt, the first pyramid of Egypt was the step pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara. We know where that thing is. It is in Saqqara. We know whose it is. It is of Djoser, and it was designed by an architect. We know the architect. The name is not mentioned here, but we know who the architect is as well. So many things we don't know, but one thing we know, in Egypt, it is that is the first pyramid. Now I want you to look at this side, just before the text, this box, not after, before the text, list of headings. So again, today I am not teaching you how to solve these questions, but these heading questions are what they are is, for each paragraph in the text, we have to find a heading. There are headings given here. What is the best heading for paragraph 1? That is what we are trying to find. So let me read them one by one. You tell me what do you think the best heading is. I'll read them one by one. Stop me whenever you think that looks like it. Number 1, the areas and artifacts within the pyramid itself. Artifacts means old objects. So old objects inside the pyramid. I don't think first paragraph talks about old objects inside the pyramid. Okay, number 2, a difficult task for those involved. Again, the first paragraph, there is not any mention of difficult or easy. Just says there are pyramids. Number 3, a king who saved his people. Again, the first paragraph doesn't talk about any king who saved the people. Number 4, a single certainty among other less definite facts. If you think about it, other less definite facts means there are some facts which are not sure. Like here earlier it says the evolution of pyramid has been argued. We are not sure about it. But we are sure about one thing, that in Egypt this is the first pyramid. So this fourth point, a single certainty, means one thing is certain, other things are not certain. Maybe, let's keep on going. Number 5, an overview of the external buildings and areas. Again, what is outside the pyramid? It is not mentioned in the first paragraph. Number 7, an idea of changing the design of burial structures. So changing of the design. Now in the first paragraph they just say pyramid. Before pyramid where there are cones, or before cones where there are cylinders, it is not mentioned. It just says pyramid. So change or did not change, who knows. Number 6, a pyramid design and other copied. So who copied whose design? Again, not actually mentioned there. Number 8, so number 8 is that. Number 8, an incredible experience despite the few remains. Again, it doesn't say how many remain in the world. And the last one, the answers to some unexpected questions. Again, any unexpected question is not given. So maybe number 4 is the number 6, a pyramid design that others copied. Here in the first paragraph, it doesn't say who copied whom. The pyramid is all over the world, but how did it go all over the world? Who copied from whom is not given, and maybe nobody copied from anybody, just may have automatically emerged in different parts of the world. Do you know that thing? Like there are many things in the world like that. Do you know the bow and arrow? If you go back in history, people in Asia also used it. People in Europe also used it. People in Africa also used it. They did not copy from each other. Just happened automatically. They figured it out. Same thing could have happened with pyramids as well. Just because you find in two places doesn't mean they copied from each other. They could be independently made as well. It is not mentioned. Maybe that is true, but it is not mentioned in the first paragraph. So we're not sure. So maybe only number 4 matches with that. Okay, let's go to paragraph B now. So who was this Djoser? Djoser was the first king of the third dynasty of Egypt and the first to build in stone. So think about it. Why do pyramids still stand today? If pyramids were built of wood, then the wood would have been decayed and the building would not have remained. But since they were made of stone, stone survived. So till now we have the pyramid. Prior to Joseph's reign, tombs were rectangular monuments made of dried clay and brick. So this design changed. It used to be rectangular. Now it became pyramid. And it was made of clay and brick. Now it is made of stone, which covered underground passages where the deceased person was buried. Deceased means dead person was buried under that. For reasons which remain unclear, again, we don't know something. Joseph's main official, whose name was Imhotep, conceived means thought of building a taller, more impressive tomb for his king by stacking one stone slabs on top of another, progressively making them smaller to form the shape now not known as the step pyramids. That is how they made. The architect was Imhotep, the official of the king, and he put stones on top of the stones and made them incrementally smaller so that it gets that shape. Have you heard this name before, Imhotep? No. Have you watched the movie The Mummy Returns? The popular Hollywood movie The Mummy Returns. You know the mummy, when they buried the dead body, they used to mummify it. Means they used to use some things, some chemicals, some whatever the materials were, and then they used to put it on the dead body before they put it in the tomb. That used to preserve the body, so the body would not be completely decayed. Even today, if you find those, they are not completely decayed. They mummify it. That's what mummy is. Anyway, in that movie, Imhotep is the main villain of the movie. The mummy in the movie is Imhotep. The king kills him after he finds that his wife is cheating with the prime minister. So anyway, in the movie, so he was the person to build this. He changed the design from rectangle to pyramid. Djoser is thought to have reigned, means ruled, for 19 years, but some historians and scholars attribute a much longer time for his rule, owing to the number and size of the monuments he built. So nobody knows how long he ruled, but we know that it was his official Imhotep who changed the design of pyramids. So look at the options here again. Which option do you think best matches paragraph B? 7 makes a lot of sense. An idea for changing the design of burial structures from rectangle to pyramid. I hope you are getting what we are doing. Okay, if you are really getting it, I want you to try the remaining ones yourself. So just like what I did right now, read each paragraph and try to find the best heading. Sometimes if two headings seem to match, then select the best one. Sometimes it happens, but there is always one right answer. So try it, take your time. You can ask me if it is difficult to understand any meaning of word or sentence.